my friends. How are you guys doing today? Thank you for stopping in today and hanging out with me for just a little bit. I hope wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, you're loving what you're doing and you're loving who you're with, man, because that's what it's all about. Guys, today we are going to be talking about a movie from 2025. Hit that like and subscribe button before we start. It's called The Wolfman. Actually, it's not even The Wolfman. It's just Wolfman. And this is directed by Mr. Leigh Whannell. Now, guys, Leigh Whannell is, he directed The Conjuring 3. He's done a few horror films, none of which are, in my opinion, particularly, groundbreaking or anything. But he's considered one of those popular guys in the horror genre. You know what I mean? So Leigh Whannell directed this. He's also acted in The Conjuring and Insidious. He plays a character named Specs. So he's been in the movies that he's also helped write and direct. So we got that going for him. But this stars Christopher Abbott and Julia Garner. And this is basically, when I first saw the preview for this in the theater, I thought to myself, okay, cool. Universal is trying to revamp their, monster universe, their monsterverse. Dracula, Mummy, Wolfman. They really need to make a Creature from the Black Lagoon remake is what they need to do. But those guys, the big guys, Invisible Man, he directed The Invisible Man too, I believe, which wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. It was a new take, similar to this being a new take, and that's where I don't particularly care for it, is if you're going to make Wolfman, if you're going to make a film about a werewolf, then by God, it needs to be about a werewolf, right? If you go back to the original black and white Wolfman, and then we go to even the more recent modern Wolfman with Benicio del Toro and stuff, they all kind of have that similar theme. He gets bit by a wolf, a gypsy does some things, and, we go from there. I thought when I first saw the preview, okay, they're going to come with an new original take on the Wolfman. I thought, that's cool. It's going to be kind of the same story, just told in a different way. That's what I was, hoping for. Oh, I just hit the table, and now you're going to hear my chair pop and crack because it's ridiculous. But anyway, guys, so we get this new telling from Leigh Whannell. And there are parts of it that I appreciate because there's some cinematography things that I really dug. But overall, I thought the movie was very, very lackluster. We have a family, okay, so in the beginning of the film, they tell us, hey, there's this Indian legend in the Pacific Northwest. It's like, they call it something. We'll call it Wendigo, werewolf, lycanthropy, whatever you want to call it. But, it's a disease. It's a virus. You get bit with it, and you become animalistic or whatever. Cool. That's cool. I can dig that. I can get behind that. We open up with a kid and his dad hunting. Okay, we're building our tension, our atmosphere. We're developing a character, and we get into this, and they're hunting a deer in the middle of the woods. You get lost out there, you're in for a world of hurt, kind of thing. And they're hunting this deer, but really the dad kind of has like a, I guess like an ulterior motive, because there's apparently this Wendigo, this werewolf has been lurking in these woods for quite some time. And so he sees him. It begins stalking the dad and the kid. And this is setting up our whole film. This opening scene is setting up our whole film. And, they hide in this deer stand. It's up in the air a little bit. But the cool thing is you hear the wolf man outside the door. And you can hear him kind of banging or whatever. And the coolest part is the dad has his gun up. And this is the cinematography part I'm talking about. He has his gun up, and you can, the werewolf is so close to that door that you can see its breath rising up over the door. To me, that was so scary. That was scarier than any monster you could put on the screen, because that right there was Less is more. You have the music building the tension. You have the dad, the actor who's playing the dad, he's selling it. The kid's selling, being scared. It feels real. It looks real. And then you add just that little bit of devil to the detail with the breath coming up over the door. Killer. Set it up beautifully. Now, if only the movie could stay the course, but it fails. And I'm going to tell you why. We fast forward 30 years, we get our main character who was the kid in the deer stand with his father. We get our main character, oh no, Pops has passed away. We got to go back to the family home in the middle of nowhere in the Pacific Northwest. They go, meet a guy, you're going to their house, things happen, we get bit. Cool. We get scratched. Whatever. We get to the house, we board up the house. Well, Pops is changing, you know. Not Pop, but new Pop, young Pops is changing. He's got his wife and his kid with him. But he's changing. And here's another thing that I liked about the film that would have been cool if they'd have done something different with the creature. You know, very rarely do we see in a werewolf film, do we see through the werewolf's eyes. And when we do, it is always like kind of either a black and white or a, kind of a hazy looking red color, whatever. This was so cool because when, as he's changing, it would shift perspectives. Like his wife will be talking to him and all of a sudden she'll get like muted and stuff and the camera will pan around behind. But as it pans around, everything gets brighter. It gets a little more purple. You can see like specks in the air, like dust specks, and people's eyes start to glow. Like if when you shine your light in a cat's eyes and they glow, people's eyes start glowing like that to him, and he's seeing everything, he's hearing everything, but he cannot verbalize. He can't speak anymore. And so even when he's hearing, he can't understand his wife. He's losing his ability. The fact that they're showing how that transformation not only happens physically, but it's happening mentally, that was also icing on the cake. I thought that was fantastic. Where the movie starts to fail is the family drama that comes into it and the fact that we never get a werewolf per se. If any of you guys have ever seen the movie Castle Freak, our creature, our Wolfman, looks more like Castle Freak than he does the Wolfman. He looks more Mongoloid and caveman than he does Wolfman. Now, there's some great body horror special effects in here where it's, very practical. There's not a whole lot of CGI where fingernails are falling out and claws are coming out. We get like a jaw breaking and extending. We get some cool body horror. We get some practical body horror. I liked that. The story is where this movie sucks. There's no character development. It like starts and then doesn't stop. But in the process of not stopping, it doesn't take time to develop a coherent story, a well-developed character with an emotional attachment to the audience, or the audience can get emotionally attached to, or anything like that. It completely negates all the cool stuff that it does by telling a lazy, sloppy story. And that's just inexcusable. With no development, no character development. I mean, yeah, you can have the prettiest special effects in the world. You can have the coolest scene transitions and cinematography. Cinematography is beautiful in this. You can have all of that and still make a terrible movie if your story is a mess and you don't have anything that ties things concretely together. You ain't got no rebar in that concrete. You ain't got nothing in there to hold it together to justify things that are happening in your film, to explain the things that are happening in your film beyond the blanket statement in the beginning. You've got to do better than that. You've got to do better than that. Would I recommend watching The Wolfman? For the special effects, yes. For the cinematography, yes. For the characters, no. Story, no. If you just want cool body horror and some cool cinematography and beautiful, sweeping landscapes, this is the movie for you. If you want a character-driven, visceral werewolf film, skip this. That's it, man. That's all for The Wolfman, guys. Check it out if you want to. It's not streaming anywhere yet. I'm sure it will be on Max or something here soon. I rented it for $5.99 because I've been wanting to see it for a while. So I gave it a rent over on Prime. If you guys want to do that, feel free. But that's it, guys. Hit that like and subscribe button on the way out. And as always, my friends, I'm going to keep making them as long as you keep watching them. Peace out. God bless you. And I will see you soon.